We begin tonight with President Obama on the campaign trail at this hour, dropping in on the highest profile Senate race in the country. Any moment now, Mr. Obama will take the stage in Las Vegas, Nevada, where he is headlining a rally tonight with the man you see there, Democratic Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid. The highest profile Democrat in the country who is not on the ballot this year, Mr. Obama, is putting himself right in the center of this year's elections. Heading into the last 10 days of campaigning, President Obama is in the midst of a 4-day, 5-state campaign swing. It's his most aggressive campaigning of this election season so far. On Wednesday night, the president traveled to Oregon to campaign for that state's Democratic gubernatorial candidate, ex-Governor John Kitzhaber. Last night, Mr. Obama traveled to Washington State to stump for Democratic Senator Patty Murray. Both of those events drawing large crowds, but nothing like the crowd that greeted President Obama today in California, before a crowd officially estimated at more than 37,000 people. President Obama today campaigned in Los Angeles for Democratic Senator Barbara Boxer as that California Senate race gets close to the finish line.
The journey we began together was not just about putting a president in the White House. It was about building a movement for change. It was about realizing the promise of the United States of America and understanding that if we're willing to work for it, there is nothing we cannot achieve. So I need you to keep on believing. I need you to keep hoping. And if you knock on some doors and make some phone calls and keep marching and keep organizing, we won't just win this election. We are going to restore the American dream for not just some, but for everybody in this great land.
Before a crowd officially estimated at more than 37,000 people in Los Angeles. President speaking today. After that Los Angeles event, the president headed straight to Nevada, where he is tonight. You see Harry Reid there right now. That is a live image from this event. President Obama scheduled to wrap up his marathon campaign swing with a trip to Minnesota tomorrow. Now, as many of the top-tier races in this year's election start to tighten, in some cases unexpectedly so, Democrats have decided to put President Obama front and center. The president's appearance in Nevada tonight is a high-stakes appearance in what, again, has become the highest-profile Senate race in the country. It is certainly the most expensive race in the country, with the Senate Majority Leader fighting there to hold on to his job. Heading into this year's re-election, Harry Reid was seen as having little to no chance of holding on to this Senate seat. He trailed his likely Republican opponents by double digits in some cases. But then the Republican primary actually happened, and in a surprise, the Republican establishment candidate lost to a contrarian state legislator with a record widely thought to make her unelectable to any significant statewide, let alone national office. After that primary, the poll numbers in the race showed a rise in Harry Reid's likelihood of holding on to his Senate seat. Instead of being down double digits, Harry Reid pulled ahead. Since then, the Republican establishment has gotten over its discomfort with their party's candidate, with Sharon Engel. They have dumped a huge amount of money into the race, as have outside groups. And this race is now essentially neck and neck. It's also up to its own neck in spending. The president's decision to campaign in Nevada tonight is a high-stakes one for this reason. The White House does not want to be seen to be fighting battles that it is not winning. I mean, in White House political calculations, there's arguably some nobility, some political capital even, in being seen to fight but lose battles in the legislative process. But in electoral politics and elections, no. No, in electoral politics, if you're the White House, you want to show that you accept the things you cannot change, you have the courage to change the things you can, and you have the wisdom to know the difference. Ahead of Mr. Obama's trip to Nevada today, Republicans there rolled out the welcome mat with a vituperative anti-Obama ad titled, "Welcome to Nevada, Mr. President." When they say welcome, they really, really, really do not mean it. The election in Nevada, like in many states, has actually already started. Early voting has already begun in Nevada. That's expected to be one of the things that Mr. Obama highlights in this speech tonight, which, again, we are anticipating in just moments. Election officials in Nevada have special early voting polling locations where any voter can cast their vote before Election Day. You don't have to do anything special to vote early. So far, early voting statistics show a strong turnout for both Republicans and Democrats, with a slight edge favoring the Republicans. This Harry Reid-Sharon Angle race is a fascinating race on its own terms. But the fact that this is such a rough and tumble, hard-fought, no-holds-barred race makes it particularly fascinating that the White House tonight has chosen to put the president right in the middle of it. As we await the president's speech in just moments, we go now to NBC News correspondent Mike Vaquera, who covers the White House. He is live tonight at that event in Las Vegas. Mike, thanks very much for joining us. What can you tell us about the White House decision to send President Obama into this race in Nevada?
Well, Rachel, I think it's the confluence of two political imperatives. It's almost become a cliche in the last week, these two phrases, a firewall and the enthusiasm gap. But that's exactly, if you look at where President Obama has been, who he's been talking to, he's been talking to base Democrats in areas where normally Democrats have no problems, Washington State, Oregon, and California. Now, be that as it may, in California, the president was also there raising money, almost $2.5 million in the last 24 hours alone. But he's got to win those. It's been said many times, if you do the math, you carry the one. If he wins Washington, California for Barbara Boxer and Patty Murray, respectively, and Harry Reid holds on here in Nevada and pulls out what you correctly identify as a bruising race, then the Senate stays in Democratic hands. So the president is here doing that. Harry Reid, for his part, the White House has said all along, we will campaign for virtually any Democrat who wants us there, and Harry Reid has clearly made the calculation that he has got to get his vote out here. You mentioned that early voting. A number of speakers have said, hey, look, there's an early voting polling place over by the J.C. Penney, a block away. It's open till 9. Get yourself over there tonight if you're really motivated. So Harry Reid has clearly made the calculation that he's got to turn out his base. He's tremendously unpopular here. Ironically enough, he's got the endorsement in the last few days leading up to this rally of a couple of statewide Republicans in the state legislature and politicians up towards Reno, who say that Harry Reid is the only thing that stands in the way of having a 19th century mining law repealed and grazing on federal land. So parochial politics here in Nevada at play, but that sort of insider status is also obviously working against Harry Reid. He told our friend Ed Schultz the other day, but for me, there'd be a worldwide depression. He's been ridiculed by Republicans for that, saying if you could stop a worldwide depression, if that's what you're so worried about, why is the unemployment rate here the highest in the nation, the foreclosure and bankruptcy rate also the highest in the nation? So the political winds obviously blowing very strong against Harry Reid, his manhood being called into question by Sharon Angle, the Republican and Tea Party favorite. Today, Harry Reid told another friend of ours, John Harwood, over at CNBC, he's never had his manhood called into question, and that Sharon Angle is an embarrassment to the state of Nevada. So no holds barred here for the former boxer Harry Reid. Rachel.
NBC News correspondent Mike Vaquera live tonight in Las Vegas, Nevada at this Harry Reid, President Obama event. Mike, thanks very much for being there for us tonight. Thanks for your time.
Okay.
We'll be back in just a moment. We are expecting President Obama to be speaking live at this event today in Nevada. Again, an interesting decision by the White House to put President Obama in the middle of what is not just the most expensive Senate race in the country, not just the highest profile Senate race in the country, but in what has been a brutal, bruising Senate race here. Less than 2 weeks out from the election, President Obama expected to appear before a large crowd tonight in Las Vegas, Nevada. Outdoors, Harry Reid is addressing the crowd right now. President Obama expected in just moments. We'll have it for you live right here on MSNBC.